Hey everybody, I had to think about something. I was earlier today. I was really black pilled, just hearing. Every once in a while, you'll read something, from like a feminist, or you'll hear something from somebody who's still women who aren't by title feminists, but that they too much of it is just too attractive. That they've bought the epistemology of the left in regards to gender roles, that they won't accept that you will most likely. I talk with my hands. It is an inherited trait. It either came from my mother or my father or both. If you were to see a picture of my father, like a full body picture of him, you'd be like, oh, you look exactly like him. You move like your father. You laugh like your mother. This is, and it has nothing. You could separate twins from their parents at birth. The twins will act remarkably like one another, and they will act remarkably like one of their parents. A tremendous amount of behavior is genetic. It can't, like to be religious, or to be absolutely fervently irreligious. Oddly enough, these have correlations. Like to be somebody who tries to convert people to atheism, and to be, that's your thing. Well, if your family is religious, it could very well be that really that's what it is. It's not that you've rejected your family's thinking. No, you're acting like your family. You're really trying to convince people of high principles, of a set of high principles. It's some type of behavioral trait. This is so well known that we could look back. I mean, when I was young, the idea that, chip off the old block, like father, like son, but these are positive things that people were saying. You're a spitting image of, grandmother, mother. All of this. This was quite normal. This idea that like a family would be known for a behavior, quite well known. There's a very important reason we've thrown this idea out. It explains multi-generational wealth. It explains success. Suddenly success makes tremendous amounts of sense because you look and you see, no, there's actually successful people tend to come from people who every generation moved up further. They increased their wealth generation after generation after generation. Then when you look into it, you find out these people generally are very loyal to friends from, like long-term friendships, or they are very loyal to family, or they're very dutiful about keeping up with business partners. They actually deal with other people, interpret what those people want, and provide it. People don't understand a lot about poverty has to do with a stack of antisocial genes. Or behavior that naturally only works if the person is not spending a lot of time building multi-generational wealth. There are many, many men in every generation, 60 to 80%, who will never reproduce. They will not have children. No woman will have children with them. Women go for the top tier. They have to. They're driven to this, so they have to. It's imperative for this, for the improvement of the species. Thank God. This is kind of built in, but it's also not. When we have some period of the culture where some of the worst men, some of the most terrible lowlives, are festooning the world with offspring. This you just build up this, and so now when the rewarding of single motherhood, this is one of those things. This is one of those things where we are rewarding moving backwards in evolution. But what do I like? I like freckles. Girls with freckles. I like cats that are overweight. I feel a little bad for them because they're overweight, but God, fat cats are hilarious. They are the image of comfort and luxury. Not only do you have a cat, but it's overweight. And it's like it's taking up space on your furniture. you know, there are, diseased, unhealthy fat cats, but usually these are well-kept animals when they're fat. So that's why they look really beautiful. It's everything very civilized about a big fat cat looking happy and aloof. I like the aloofness of cats. I love bluebirds and blue jays. I'm fascinated by crows. I feel some strange, like I get them. Like I get them and they watch me. There's actually a crow that followed me down the street once. I only noticed it because I was fiddling around my phone, walking real slow, and I stopped to sip my coffee. And I look, and this crow is like every 10 feet alights, and then just is right there next to me. I'm not sure what I did to attract the attention of this thing, and it just would stand there and watch me. It's one of those things. I like when you're not looking at her, and then suddenly you look. There's like one of your favorite songs is on. No, Listen, Mr. DJ by Sam Cooke. Keep those records playing because I'm having such a good time dancing with my baby. And you watch, and she's dancing along. She's just bobbing her head or something. I love that. Some song, and she's just bobbing her head. She doesn't know you're watching her. She's not looking for attention, but she's getting it. That's magic. I like when both of you spin away on the dance floor and come back together without it being planned. That's magic. I like when you put on a tune on the night you're spinning records. You know she loves that song. And somehow, through kismet, there she is, sipping a drink. And you're like, I'm going home with you. And you love that. When you look through the cupboards in the fridge and you whip something up, and she looks at you and she's like, how did you do that? Baby, I could cook. And she's so happy. And to her, it didn't look like there was anything to eat. And at the end of it, there's leftovers. That's magic. I like that. I like midnight mass, Christmas. Back when I was younger. Big, bright churches. Songs, full of song. Like authentic Americana. Not this weirdness that so many millennials are into, where it's a strained and stressed thing. Like that Alabama Shakes, they miss it entirely. Such a miss. John Mayer, it doesn't impress me at all whatsoever. Just one of those many people with a guitar and a strumming problem. There's no problem in covering a song in a different genre, like taking an 80s smooth rock song and making it a blues tune. There's no problem in that. You pick the right song. There was a period of time where musicians were, that's what they were known for, was their cover that they did. That's how that people will never forget that. When you're a DJ, there's some covers that, I mean, you're looking for that cover forever. And only one label has the fucking rights, and they aren't printing it for years at a shot. There's a cover of Midnight Rider. Last name is, I think, Davidson. He's a reggae artist. 45 is $300 because it's so rare. I think there's a CD comp that it's out on. And again, every so many years it pops up on a compilation. Cover songs by like Elvis, cover songs by is out of my mind. I love Americana. I like American artists when they're young and hot. And they're hungry, and they want to bring down the house. They're going to bring the roof down every show, and they're determined. They have that determination that is uniquely American. I'm going to bring this house down. That's an Americanism. I love Americanisms. Show you right. Show enough. Tell you what. So many. They're so good. It's a beautiful language. American English. It's a beautiful, wonderful language. The terms that we pulled into it. Look at this mook. This fucking heel. Look at this schlemiel over here. What a ponce. You know, I mean, just these terms that, you know, pointing at the tip jar, karma, you know, like that's, you know, on the tip jar there's karma, you know. It's, I mean, only in America. Only in America. And I like that. I mean, just every day. It's for people who, you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, it's what is American, who is American, all this. It's like, but it's like, no. We eventually, it just is a thing. It just becomes what you are. The sandwich. I love sandwiches. Sandwich, that's an American thing. These dirty European peasants took a second slice of bread, can you believe that, and put it on top so it was easier to hold. That open-faced is a Europeanism. That's a more noble, more East Coast kind of thing. Open-faced. Because so you could delicately hold it. And, oh yes, and then when I was looking at the property up north, yeah, love that. Coffee. Back in the Revolutionary War, way you would find out if somebody was a spy or a loyalist, a royalist. Are they for the Republic, or at the time the Confederacy? You know, that's one of those Confederates. You know, one time that was a good thing. Will you have tea or coffee, sir? Only Americans drink coffee. No Briton would be seen drinking this vile bean of Ethiopia and South America. You know, they grow that there in Cuba. It will make you mad. Chocolate. I mean, really, like the chocolate oranges. People don't understand the idea, the very idea. Why is chocolate and orange put together? People are like, oh, they taste very good. It's like, no. At one time, to have chocolate and to have an orange rich. You I mean, how wealthy are you to have coffee and oranges and chocolates? We are really a fascinating land and a fascinating people. We have so much potential to have a personal library. This is really, I'm not kidding, that's American. More blacks were literate in the 1950s than Estonians, Latvians, or I believe possibly the average Ukrainian, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that they wouldn't have been able to read their own language. Their poems had only been written down for maybe 100 years in something other than German. While black families were able to find one another across states once freed. Across states, they reformed. This idea, the blacks were broken by slavery, driven mad, and they were been uncontrollable since, barely surviving in the margins of the American story. Oh, please stop. Save it for the illiterates and alliterates and the communists. Elvis was covering black music. People, see, he was getting rich on the black man. But, do you not understand the ramifications of this? He was playing music of neighboring people and bringing it to a community that simply could not fathom the idea that they would go to see the original artist, or that this artist simply would have never thought of leaving the South. People don't remember this. Do you really think blacks simply stayed in the South for no good fucking reason? They were comfortable. They had friends there, family, land, lots of land. I like that Americans aren't marks. Americans realize when they're getting duped. Americans at some point, they look and they go, wait a second. Hold on, fella. Hold on. Slow down. I think you're trying to pull something on me. It might take a long time, but Americans are not easily fooled. We are kind people. People meet us and they don't think us rude or harsh. They don't think us hard-hearted. Really. I've met people from, like, it seems a country full of hard-hearted people, but then you realize no, there's a different way by which you become close. It's a different way, very different. We have you obviously must be some kind of decent person. You said hello. This is so very American. To just wave to a passerby, that's American. That's not universal. To sit on the porch and wait to see if, somebody comes along, says hello, just wants to chat. That's American. That whites play the banjo such that there might not, outside of, the sugar, the Georgia sugar somethings, sugar shakers, they're some of the only black people who play the banjo. And maybe a few reggae artists, maybe a few Caribbeans are still playing the banjo. I mean, you could hear up until like the 1969, 1970 black reggae artists with a banjo player. And Now, I mean, it's almost entirely a white instrument. That's beautiful. That wily, it's a different kind of white man who grows his hair out and has dirt under his nails. Has a hard arms and a hard back. They're that old fashioned kind of outdoors white man. I like that. There's that difference between the guy with like the flight deck hair and the triple button down, chambray compared to this other, this guy with a Stetson and his long hair and his unkempt mustache. 7:30 happening around this area. He doesn't have to, he'll trim it up later. And his wife likes a beard. Ladies like a man with a beard. I love that kind of stuff. Pendletons, one of the most sought. Oh, God, the stories I have about Pendletons in San Francisco history. Ben Davis pants, Pendleton shirts. And if you're from San Francisco around the 80s and 90s, you know what I'm talking about. I love my land. It drives me to tears often. I get watery-eyed when I think about America and how much I love it. I keep the Constitution always sitting around, because you never know what you don't know, what you might have forgotten. Know your rights. God gave them to you. I love that you could still get movies on VHS. Somewhere, that movie's on VHS. And that somebody still has a working VCR. Only in America are there people who have VHSs and vinyl. For no good reason other than to have them. That a free man can have a library. That a Jew could leave the ghettos of Europe and her children could become doctors and diplomats for their nation, in which they are free and they can own land and no one can take it at will and whimsy. That their people will never be ejected from that land at will and whimsy of the monarch. Just all of these, the hopes and dreams of 1,000 lands. And here they happen. Here the Toysanese establish a whole new destiny. And does Toysan, is it even recognizable? There's people in San Francisco that's what they speak is Toysanese. They speak Cantonese. They speak maybe a bit of Mandarin or understand it, but really, they speak Toysanese best. And sometimes there's words that don't quite work in the other dialects. I love all those things. Really love redheads. I am black. I like Filipino women when they're young. Not so fond when they're old. Don't mean to be mean. I grew up around this, so I know what I'm talking about. I like working class East Coast Jews. I get along with them real well. There's just a lot of stuff, phrases that I got, and just stuff I know that, I mean, it's just, I get along with them well. To some degree, Italians too. I just get, and it's just, those were a lot of the people who moved to the Bay Area, and before my lifetime and during my lifetime, a lot of the people I dealt with. So I like all kinds of things Chinese, like pre-communist Chinese, all kinds of, I love it. I'm a total rice king. Used to be far more so, but yeah, got a whole library of stuff about Buddhism and things. I like Buddhism quite a bit. If anybody's going to not really be that, they want to be spiritual, I always say to them, okay, why don't you just look into Buddhism for a while? This is the specific book, Basic Buddhist Concepts by Mizuno. You'll know everything you'll ever need to know about it. Really. From there you can learn for anything in any sect, any group, you'll be set. I like the rhetoricians of the 1900s through about the 1970s or so. Once you start getting to Sowell, but really it's it's gone. Murray Rothbard, and some others around that time. I like, they were fun. They were really fun. Yeah, just there aren't the same kind of rhetoricians nowadays. The TED Talks and TEDx have really shown that people are just simply not as elegant in their speech. And this is why Paul Joseph Watson is so well liked. It's not just the British accent makes him seem smart. He does things with the way he speaks that shows that what kind of people he was around, and the kind of English that he was, very likely, like me, corrected on constantly, contiguously. Now, there's always things that I like. I like dogs a lot. I'm not terribly good with them because they're so high energy, and they really want to get into it. And when you love dogs, you're like, oh, a doggy, And so I'm more aloof. So sometimes dogs they want somebody to be engaged, especially like small, like not too small, but like a corgi, the pugs, British bulldogs. Like I like those kind of smaller ones that you kind of put your hands around, really get at them, and you can scratch them all over, and so they love that, Like big dogs are fun, but you really got to engage them, and it's a different relationship. Big dogs have a different demeanor, than small ones. Where small ones are like, they're just happy as hell. They just can't believe how lucky they are that somebody like you understands right there under the collar, right? Yeah, right there. Being formerly a massage therapist, all people's dogs love me. They realize very quickly. I know, like, no, I know these sets of muscles on you are what you have to use constantly just to stay in this position. So, let me just scratch there because there's nothing you could do about that, and they always love that. And forever, they love me. I like when you could, I like feeding birds. Like what, like little ones, little tiny birds. When you just flick them a few crumbs, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, and eventually they get it so well that they could like snatch the crumb right out of the air. That's cool. That's magic. I like the fall. There we go. There's some things I like. It's easy to talk about things that one does not like. To criticize the world, to become world weary is a sin. It is not my world to become weary with. There's endless things, endless wonders. I like that Oregon has coffee kiosks open 24 hours a day. So on your day off, when you wake up from a nap after pump and iron, filling your belly full of food, at 2 a.m, you go and you could walk through the streets dodging the other madmen and get yourself a coffee. Love that. And that people at the coffee kiosks tend to be just so nice. Like, people in Oregon are very kind and very nice. And in fact, actually, unfortunately, sometimes too nice. Like, they're too like, yeah, it's like, like, what? You can't be that nice. Somebody's going to take you. Somebody's going to gaffle you, bro. You got to be kind, be friendly, but don't get too wrapped up. because people are weird. People aren't bad. They're weird. You don't know what they're going to do. You hold meat out for a dog, the dog will eat the meat. You hold meat out for a human, and they might say, like, I don't eat meat. I like lamb. God, I love lamb. Oh, they're cute and tasty. I haven't had rabbit. Want some. I love pho. Pho is so good. Grew up eating Chinese food, and stuff like that, and Vietnamese and food and stuff like that. So it's and stuff from Annam, So I love pho. Love noodle soups. Love ramen. I can't even have it in the house. Oh God, I'm not even going to tell you the story. I can't have it in the house. And I make dank ramen. Army brat. I make dank ramen. Chili mac. I make the dankest. The things I could do with Kraft macaroni and cheese and a few other ingredients. Out of this world. There we go. Boom. Okay, that's stuff I like. Peace.